Hi, hey everybody. I want to talk to you about what is two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication, why you need to enable it on all your accounts. But before I do that, I want to let you know I'm Dave McBride. I'm of Tech Experts. We help entrepreneurs to close the gaps that exist across the tools needed for your online business. And today we're specializing in talking about security, securing your accounts and making sure they're secure. That's why I want to talk to you about what is 2FA or MFA, as they may refer to it, and what does this mean and why you need to use it. So, number one, what is that I'm talking about? Well, they'll refer to it as 2FA or MFA. Either term is similar or the can be interchanged right now. It's referring to adding a second layer of authentication when you're logging into your accounts. So if you think of it like your username and your password is the first way. Having a second key or a second way to confirm it's truly you when you log in, so that someone just couldn't put in a username and a password and get access to your account. They would have to confirm it's actually you logging in, a real person. Now, this can be done across a variety of different methods, and you probably are using one of the methods already. There's about 5 or 6 different methods I can go through, but for right now, I just want you to understand picking any method and using it, even if it seems a little annoying at times, is worth it. I mean, I've heard customers and friends and family say, "Oh, that stupid thing is prompting me again to put in the code." I said, "No, that's a good thing. You want it to prompt you to put in the code because it's confirming it's really you, and you will know then that it's you logging in when you see that code prompt pop up." So that brings me really to number 2 points. Number one is what is it? It's that second way of confirming it's your identity. Number two is why do we need to use this? Well, it's there to help you. It's there to help you protect and secure your accounts. So that means it's securing against an unauthorized or unapproved person logging into your account. Now, this can be a variety of things, but the ones I want to particularly point out to you that you may not think of it as is it may be something like an ex coworker. Maybe it's an ex husband or an ex spouse that you have that had an account that you were trying to log into and check on your stuff. Maybe it's even as something as a VA you were working with, but you've completed the project with and you no longer want to work with them. You're going to work with a new VA and you don't want the old VA trying to access your account. So if you hadn't canceled your share of your password or you had said, "Oh, I thought they weren't supposed to be using it," I can confirm who is basically getting access to my account because there would be a prompt saying, "Hey, I need the passcode." So you would be able to have your VA reach out to you and say, "I need the passcode," or be able to share the passcode and using a tool or method you're using to say, "Yes, they're approved to do this. I'm going to approve the authorization." So it's a second way to confirm it's really you. So, like I said, it could be an ex spouse, an ex friend, an ex coworker, someone you worked with, a VA, or maybe you had a partner or developer working with you and they were doing something like developing your website and then they just ghosted you. And now you have a new person developing your website. Now, the original one decided, "Oh, yeah, I finally get back to that. I should really finish what I was doing." Even though they ghosted you, maybe you didn't have everything canceled off, or they had an old username and password that they were trying to use, even though you changed it to log into your account. And this is giving you that confirmation, hey, someone's truly trying to get back in. And it lets you say, okay, maybe it's time to change the password or update it again because I don't want someone getting in. Now, the number three reason is to prevent against things like hackers. So, hackers are out there. And if you have reused your password more than once and you had an account that was compromised, or somehow your passwords were compromised some way, that hacker will then try to get into every other account they may be able to know about that they have for you, or just are blanketly trying all kinds of accounts that are common for people to have, like different social media accounts, and they're trying your usernames and passwords that they have stolen from the first account and they're reusing them, try them again. So when the hacker is going to reuse it, even though it's a different account, if your username and password matched, Without the two-factor authentication, they'd be able to get in successfully without you knowing. That means they'd take over your new account. You would never know they're in until you've lost control of it. At that point, we're now in recovery mode and a defensive trying to get it back and get it back for you. That is not the best place to be. I'd rather almost be like, you can think of like an offensive thing or putting in a level of something where you can prevent them from being able to do that. Especially in the world we're in, where we see social media and travel and things like it can be something as common and easy as maybe you're using same username and password in something like your streaming services that you shared with a friend. And now somehow that friend said, hey, let me see if I can use it to get into another service of theirs that I want to borrow because I couldn't get a hold of them. Well, your two-factor authentication is preventing them from being able to do that. I have friends that share accounts with friends and family members, and they said, my brother's in another city, and whenever I get these weird messages pop up saying, hey, someone's trying to log into your account and the city doesn't match, he basically says, okay, time to reset my password. I have two-factor authentication turned on, so I'm secure in knowing that somebody that wasn't my brother, who may have been borrowing my brother's account and was traveling with him or whatever, is trying to get in, and I don't want to share it to them. I'm not intending to share it to them, so I definitely want to have this turned on so that I can know, hey, someone's trying to get into my account even though they're not authorized. I'm going to make sure I reset it and then make sure everybody else has to re-log out and log back in to get into all their accounts. Now, that's a little annoying, but it also keeps you secure. So when it says log out of all devices, you can say, yes, log out of all devices. Now, maybe that's a little bit more inconvenient, but I'd rather have it be more inconvenient for you and take a couple extra minutes than have it be you lost your account or you lost a whole series of accounts as a result of a ripple effect of this. Yolanda's on and she says you definitely don't want to be in recovery mode. It's always best to be proactive when you're using your web security. So those things are going to be like using a good password manager. Use a good password manager, and you want to make sure you have your two-factor authentication turned on for your password manager, because if somehow your master password was compromised, then you would be not able to prevent them from getting out without the two-factor authentication. That would give them access to everything you have in your password manager. This is why it's key that you turning on your two-factor authentication on all the accounts you have. I always say start with your master password for your password manager. The next one is go through all your financial accounts, do all of your email accounts, and do all your social media accounts first. Those are the top ones to do in like that order, because they're going to be the most critical for you to be able to make sure you're secured. Then work your way through the rest of your accounts, going through and turning on two-factor authentication on all the accounts. Now there's multiple methods, like I said, you can use. Some of them are considered more secure than others. I can cover those in another video, but I just want you to at least start with one of them. And you can always change the method you're using as you go along. Having at least one method in place is better than no methods. No methods leaves you totally open. It's like thinking like, oh, I didn't bother to lock the front door. I just closed it. It'll be safe, right? You would say, no, of course you're going to lock the front door. And you probably have two sets of locks on your door, right? That's kind of the two-factor authentication thinking is. I have my regular lock and I have a deadbolt. There are probably two sets of keys if you really want to keep it secure. So you have your username and your password that unlocks and turns the handle. But you also have to have your two-factor authentication key, which is going to unlock the deadbolt for you. Unlocking that deadbolt now lets you in the door. So you may see someone jiggling the handle and be like, hey, the deadbolt's locked. And let me go and see who's trying to get in. They're not supposed to be here, or I would have given them that key, right? That's the idea here. We don't want to give out the keys to our access to our accounts to anybody out there because they just feel like they can. And the world is getting a little crazier, and there's things called like phishing attacks. It basically means Someone is sending out an email and saying, hey, there was something happened to your account. Click here to log in and reset your password. We're from your bank, and it's not really the bank. They just make a site that looks like the bank. And then when you do that, you reset the password. Now they have your username and password for that bank account. And if you don't have your two-factor authentication, they'll just go right over to your bank account immediately, log in with that same credentials because they'll be using a tool to do it, and then go ahead and change that master password and change all your stuff, take all your money out, and before you even know it, you're already out of luck. So this is why it's such a great thing to have and put in place. I know it's a little frustrating at times because it's like, oh, one more thing to type in, one more, let me go grab my phone or whatever device I'm using to do this and authenticate myself. But I think it would be find it better to turn on two-factor authentication than to lose all your stuff. I had a friend who I was working with, and he was using Cash App on his phone, and he lost his phone. And we're like, dude, that sucks. All right, we gotta get you a new phone. And he's like, oh yeah, and I lost my Cash App, and they took the $800 I had in there out that I was gonna use to pay my mortgage or my rents or whatever. I'm like, so now you lost your phone. There's $1,000 gone, and you lost your cash for your rent, and you lost access to your Cash App because you didn't have two-factor authentication turned on. I'm like, why didn't you do it? He's like, I thought it would be too hard, or it takes too long, or it was confusing. Is like, and now the Cash App was tied to my bank account, so they started pulling money on my bank account as well. And so I'm like, okay, let's freeze your bank account, let's get you a new phone, let's cancel your Cash App. And it's a whole series of things you have to do, and you're playing catch up. You're trying to always now play catch up to the people that stole from you, saying, oh, what else did they try to get into? Oh, I lost my phone and it had all these things in it. Oh, are they going to be able to get into my social media nows? Oh, are they getting into all my contacts? Oh, did I share my password or my information with someone unsecurely through a contact? Right? What are all the other things that happen that are triggered as a result of that? Simply like, I lost my phone. I don't have two-factor authentication turned on for it. It's like not turning on a PIN or face recognition for your phone, or a thumbprint recognition, or whatever tool you're using. My phone was unsecure, so now everything else is unsecure. They're in my social media accounts. They're in my banking accounts. They're in my money accounts. They have access to all my friends. They have access to all the people, and they can send out a message saying, hey, I just lost this. Can you send me some money here so I can get a new one, even though they're the ones taking the money when it arrives? But you have a choice. And that's the beauty of it. We live in a technology world now where they made it easy to secure your accounts. And that's why you want to use two-factor authentication, or they'll call it multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication basically means the same thing. You have multiple different ways of choosing to do this, and you can set up more than one authentication method that will let you authenticate with an app or a tool. And I really love that idea of saying, I'm going to put in more than one method to authenticate. So in case something happens and I lost one of the tools I'm using, I have a backup method that can still multi-factor authenticate into my account, or get into my account and prove it's really me, besides just having one single method to do it. So it's just real out there. I know it's tough being out here in the entrepreneur streets and feeling like you got to do everything, or you're a small business and you're trying to manage all these things. And maybe you're working with VAs that are on the other side of the world, or maybe you're working and collaborating on projects with people that are in another location. Especially since COVID, we're now doing this video thing where everyone goes live or is on a video conference call or Zoom call, right? We're no longer seeing everyone face to face. We're no longer in the office with the people. So as a result of this, we are now more and more depending on being online and doing things in a digital or online format. For that reason, we have to make sure we're taking those extra steps to keep ourselves secure. That means doing all the smart things. Like I said, using a good, strong password manager and using a strong master password with your password manager and having two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication turned on for your password manager. It means looking at making sure all your different devices you have and use are also secure or kept secure in some way. So it is key as we are in this revolutionary time where everything can be done off your phone or your tablet or your laptop. You don't have to have everything you used to. So now it's more important that we secure our information, secure our accounts, and secure how we communicate and work with others, because people just disappear right now. People just, they call it ghosting you, and you're working with them and then all of a sudden they don't show up and they can't be heard from. You don't know if they just got sick with COVID, because we're still in that time when this is happening, or if it's something else. They got busy, they got a new project, or they got a better offer and they're just dropping you, or they decided, I don't really want to do what I was going to do anymore. I'm going to quit and do something different. So since we're in this time where things are shifting so quickly and so rapidly, it is more than ever important that you are securing your information. And remember, that means using that two-factor authentication is protecting your identity. That's one of your most valuable assets. You have two most valuable assets: your data and your identity. So if you want to protect that identity, that brand you have, that contacts you built, that relationship you have with these amazing people out there, right? That's the way you're going to do it, is because you're going to keep it secure so somebody else can't claim they're you and make it look like you're saying something that's not really you. That's why I'm saying that the priority is going to be protect your financials first, because that's going to be the biggest thing. You don't want to lose all your money. You don't want to lose your emails, because that gives you access to all kinds of things. And you definitely don't want to use your social media, because when you lose your social media, somebody else can claim and post things making it look like it's you when it wasn't you. Then you not only have to go back and undo and get your account back, you have to then prove to everyone that you never really said that. Some hacker or person that was not happy with you was posting false information about you, or just trying to make you look bad. And that recovery in that PR world is not a fun place to be. So if you can take a few steps right now to keep yourself secure and do that, I recommend it. And I have a link down below in the show's description, and as well as in my post, that you can click that link and get a free coffee tech chat. I put it as the schedule with me. Basically, I'll go through with you and talk to you about like where you're at, and we can make a plan to work together then to implement all the tools you need to secure all your accounts, all your stuff, and do things in a secure way. That can mean password managers. That means two-factor authentication. That means set up secure sharing of data for clients and coworkers. That also means putting your data together in a secure way so that you can have clean, organized files, and then put a backup in place, or backups in place technically, and secure your data that way, making sure it is in a secure place. So wherever you are storing your data, you need to make sure you have your two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication turned on with that. So if you are doing a system like a Dropbox, or you're doing somebody where you have a backup solution running and you're doing a cloud backup to it, you want to make sure the two-factor authentication, your multi-factor authentication for those accounts are turned on. Why am I saying that? Because you want to keep that data secure that you have on those accounts. So not only is it about protecting like your bank account, your email, and your socials, you want to make sure you're doing those same processes. That's why I said start with those three and then look to add all the rest of them. That means adding things like where you're sharing your data from. Right? Are you using Dropbox? Are you using Google Drive? Are you using OneDrive? What tool are you using to share and work with other people with? You want to consider that and make sure that's secure. If you have a backup system in place, which I recommend everyone does, it's a foundational piece everyone should have in place, that backup has the same two-factor authentication, multi-factor authentication enabled for, so that you are the one who is able to access those backups. Someone can't just hack in and download all your data, and you never knew anyone even took it until you look or see that you got a notice that a download occurred. You wouldn't want to lose all your company data because you didn't secure your account. Thank you all so much for joining me on this live. I'm getting out here and just sharing the tech tips. Like I said, if you want to schedule an appointment with me, click the link in the comment in the section down below, or you can comment and DM me book, and I will give you a special link where you can book a call with me to have a tech coffee chat, and we can go over where you're at and make a plan to get you working and get you secure. Thanks again, everybody. Again, I'm David Tech Experts. See you next time.